started thinking about, well, what are other games that we can use our drawing skills and creativity aside? So we wanted to come up with a couple of games that we wanted to have a chat about tonight in regards to that game. Now, this is games that you may or may not have heard, and we wanted to have a chat about them. And the first one that we're going to talk about, which is obviously the inspiration for this game, which was which we most of all of us know, which is Pictionary. And Ralph, you kind of said to us that this is your, obviously Pictomania was your Pictionary replacement, but you also mentioned the words "I hate Pictionary," and I've got to know why.
Some strong feelings there.
Yeah, hate is a strong word, but it's completely warranted. Growing up, Pictionary was always one of those games that always ended in fights. It's very much like that Simpsons episode.
It's
like
dignity.
100%.
Yep.
And then I think
That's a door.
yeah, I think I was 8. I was 19 when I met my wife, and I played a game with her. She wasn't my wife at the time, but I played a game with her. I didn't just meet her. It's like, oh shit, I knew I was married to someone. Yeah, so I played Pictionary a bit with her through the years while we were dating, and it's just, she's too good at it.
Right.
She's one of those people that have developed a system to communicate through code.
It's a circle.
Yeah, pretty much. This game and Taboo, like, she's just absolutely amazing at, but it gets to the point where it's just, you can't, it's not a game, you can't play it. But if she doesn't kill me for that one.
Is that why you hate the game?
Yeah, it's just,
You hate the game because your wife's good at it. I was thinking there was going to be some mechanic, there was some inside here. No,
because she's made her own mechanics.
Because I was playing a
Right.
game. I was playing a game of Pictionary one time, and someone stabbed my girlfriend with a pen
So-
from the
so-
book.
That's right. It's a really good story.
I'll just talk through this. So say my wife has the Pictionary card,
here we go,
right?
yep,
This
I'm
is a
gonna-
bit of a role play right now, okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Pretend I'm. Are you Tina?
I'll be Tina.
You two, you
Just
be
remember
Tina.
as well, we're also filming it, not just recording, okay?
Well, I'm gonna
been doubly
explain
bad
this
for you
'cause
tonight.
I will explain what I'm doing as I do it. So my wife would read the card and goes, "All right, I got it," and then she'll do this to me, where she rapidly hits her thumb with her finger, and then you, as the guesser, you have to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Oh, F. It's F. Cool. Let's do it. And then she'll start drawing the word. That's the picture of whatever
That's
it is.
not
That's
allowed.
not Pictionary.
And then say.
That's not charades.
Say she draws something that doesn't start with an F. So say she draws. I don't know. Say she draws
A goat.
Say she draws a deer. Say it was H.
Yep.
Yeah.
And say she draws a deer, and then she does this, where she pulls her earlobe like that.
Sounds like.
And it sounds like a deer. Is the word here? Yes, it's here. Yes, it's amazing. You got it. But I'm like, you just yelled at me what letter it was.
You're not
and
playing
then
a
you did the
Pictionary.
sounds like, and I'm
She's
like,
playing charades.
it's charades Pictionary.
Well, no wonder you hate it. She's not even playing the right rules. What the hell, Tina? What? Yeah, I was expecting. Yeah, we were playing Pictionary once, and then I got the call that my dad had died, so I just hate that game. Like, some actual stuff.
No,
Tina's
no.
just cheating.
They just found a way to break the game.
That's like me playing charades and then pointing to a box of Star Wars, and you go, "A New Hope." Yes, that's right. It's not charades.
That's not what the game is at all.
I thought it was Staying Alive.
Hell.
This is not the bag out Tina episode.
No, please
No,
don't feature
that's
this
episode
one.
13. It's
yeah,
coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up. That's coming up.
No, she'll get us back when we do the couples episode sometime in the future.
Oh, I'm interested in that one. Definitely.
Okay,
That's
so-
where we get our wives on the podcast. You know,
Yeah.
double date. That'll be fun.
Dear God.
All right, so Pictionary obviously is the game that we're all aware of. It's basically just drawing, and you have different options. But I would like to bring up a game which we've played a lot of, which is called Cranium. And Cranium is basically a mixture of a few different games. Cranium was kind of a brainy sort of mashup of Pictionary, Trivial Pursuit. It included some Play-Doh. It also had some word games in there. Now, it does have a mixture of those word games in there, so it's not all purely just creative, but it really did take what you're basically saying about Pictionary and how your wife does a lot of that, has those kind of things.
Yeah, the
but
gestures.
but it takes this game and basically says, okay, you have to not only do competitive Pictionary, you may have to do blind Pictionary. You may have to also then try and draw the Pictionary using a 3D clay, the Play-Doh that it gives you, and it led to some hilariously great moments and dumb moments on the part of yours truly here. I've absolutely done some really dumb things, which my wife can attest to when I'm playing this game, thinking I'm smart. It's like, no, but I remember one of the best things I remember was that we had to do, my Georgie and I were on a team, my wife, and she was in charge of the Play-Doh, and she then had to do canoe. And the 3D canoe that she did was perfect, right? She made a little raft and had a little stick.
Banana, didn't you?
No, I thought it was like a pea sack.
Oh yeah, pea pod.
No,
yeah,
I'm joking. I actually got canoe, but it was completely better. But it's much better than when it's my turn and I have to start drawing a person. So I start rolling a little sausage to make a little stick figure man, and I'm like, I'm completely bad at this. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
The sculpting one's good, yeah.
Yeah, the sculpting one is good. But Matt, you've played a lot of Cranium. It's your family pretty much. I owned it, I think, and we used to always play it with you guys as well.
These are the type of games that my family have played forever. So the Pictionary category, where it's not as much thinking, it's guessing what other people are doing. That's the kind of games that my family loves to play. So Cranium fell into that for sure. Like there's the other elements in Cranium are where you've got to define a word. Someone will give you a word and you've got to give the definition to it. So we like word games. There's also one where in the drawing category you've got to be blindfolded to draw in the Pictionary
It's
category.
called a Senso sketch.
Yeah.
Nice. That sounds cool.
So, like there's been some crazy things that have come out of that, obviously, with people drawing off the pad, for instance, and onto the table. What's the other? And then there's the charades category as well.
Yeah, so
but one of them in the charades category is if you're playing in teams of more than two people, one person actually takes another person
Puppet
and
master.
uses them as a puppet.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and the other team member obviously has to guess with you moving someone else's limbs around, which, depending once again on the person you play with, sometimes it's really, really easy, and then you get people like my brother-in-law, who's an absolute legend, who just he's a bit stiff. And he just doesn't bend in certain ways, and you get someone who wants him to bend in certain ways, and it's hilarious watching them just manipulate him. Who cares what the answer is?
One of my favorite shows growing up was Whose Line Is It Anyway?
And,
I love me some charades and stuff as well. It's just always a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. So Cranium does have a lot of those drawing elements in there, Matt. But you were about to say something?
I was going to say, Telestrations is the other game that I really wanted to talk about in this category because I only came across this, I don't know, a month ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
I've owned it for about 7 years.
Yeah?
I bought it ages ago, but I played it with my family. But you want to give a rundown of what it is?
We played it we played it with the family around the table a month ago. I'd never played it before. As I said earlier, Jane's not overly a gamer, but she fell in love with the game. It had some of the biggest belly laughs I have ever had. So in Telestrations, you get given a word or a phrase which you write down on your book. You then have to draw that on a page. You flip the page and give it to the player on your left. They look at the picture, have to describe it. They give that description to the player on their left, and it keeps going around until you end up back with your own booklet and to see, Chinese whisper style, what has ended up back in your lap. And but I don't know how it happened, but my dad ended up with a picture of, I think it was, somehow it got very risque and it became a man looking up someone else's skirt, which was not the original word. And Dad, in his ultimate wisdom, described it as kneeless euphoria because the woman had no knees and the man was happy, right? So imagine getting that phrase and going like,
hard mode on Pixelmania.
Yeah, that's right. Draw kneeless euphoria for me. What the hell is that? So, those are the moments that I love about these games.
So, a lot of people may be listening to that, and as you said, Chinese whispers, but drawing. But they may also realize that there's a digital version of this game that has basically come out and has become really popular over lockdown, which is a website called Gardic Phone. And basically, it's the exact same thing. Yeah. But a Gardic Phone basically takes the Telestrations board game, but then adds a whole bunch more different, modes. Like you can do the animator mode where you have to draw a frame and do that, or you can do the idea of Chinese whispers, or you're just trying to there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Or you can play it the exact same as Telestrations, which is what I did. I had about, I think, 8 of my cousins during lockdown a few years ago. We played this a lot. And what I love about Telestration style games is the running jokes that it makes in that same booklet. Oh man, you see some
When you-
funny running jokes.
When you see it build, and you're
Yeah.
like, where is this going to end
and it's
up?
just hilarious because you don't know where it's going.
We're only playing with 7 players. You wouldn't think that there's that much deviation you could get from, I think one of them
Well, there could be something like Apple.
Yeah, that's right. I had one that was Teapot, and it came back as some horrible... I can't remember what it actually came back as, but by the time it got back to me, I was like, where did this go wrong? Like, how did the drawings lead to this horrible imagery of
It
some
is also very funny in Guiding Phone to Illustrations when you go back through the book and you see where it went wrong.
Yeah.
Yes,
So you're allowed to go,
yes.
you go back and you can see someone saw a pig, but then they guessed it was the elephant from the Republican Party, so then they guessed Donald Trump. And then all of a sudden you went from a pig to Donald Trump, and you're like, what the hell happened there, right? It was like, and all this random stuff that can happen. But, so those are some of the fun... Ralph, did you want to say anything else about Gardic Phone before we move to the next one?
No, that's okay. We can move on.
Yeah, sweet. So we wanted just to go to the final 2 games of tonight, which is these are all of our fun kind of... The games that we've talked about have all been like fun, drawing, silly games. But there is a game that we wanted to bring up, which is a drawing game, but actually involves a bit of the werewolf-ish, the spy mechanic. And this is called A Fake Artist Goes to New York. And so this is a really, really fun game where however many players you have, you are all artists. And you all know what we're drawing. But there is one player who's a fake artist. And they have no idea what we're drawing. Now, the way the game works is that we only have one sheet of paper. And I'm going to draw... The rule is I take my pen and I can draw one line. And when my pen removes off the paper, I have to pass it to you. And then you draw another line.
Oh, God.
And then we go around the table. And then so
I
you're
would
looking
completely fail
So
at
you
this
are
game.
looking at everyone, and once it gets around the table and comes back to the original artist, everyone then has to stop, have a look at the thing, and then we all point to who we think is the fake artist based on what the line is. So you could do something as simple as a little circle.
Yeah.
But if that circle is in the wrong place, people are like, what the hell are you doing? Or you could do stuff as you could do a really big, like you could go first and do big abstract and then pass it to someone and go, and then they are like, huh? But then they have to keep the
They have to
drawing
make
going.
it going.
They have to keep it going, right?
Yeah.
So
This game's fantastic. I haven't played it in person. This was another one of our lockdown games. We just played it online.
Yeah.
Same
Eight
thing.
of my cousins, exact same setup. It was beautiful.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
brilliant thing about this game in lockdown is that you can just there are a lot of people who quickly whipped up, web app games, so
Yeah.
you can go in and draw it. Ralph, though, what did you think about this? Like, what do you think about this game? It's
I love a hidden role game. And this one is it caught me by surprise because who would think physically the game really plays on a very small sheet of paper, much like these little cards I'm holding. And I loved it. Like, just even when you're the imposter, just draw a line anywhere and someone will
Hope for the
know
best.
what you're doing. And I love talking a bit of smack. So when there's a hidden role game, it's like, I know what I'm doing, don't worry. And like, you really don't. And you're just kind of like making sure like they don't understand what you're doing, and you can make them the hidden role spy guy. I love framing people like that in board games.
the reason why these
it's
games
great.
the reason why these games are such a good hit, I think, is because everyone can't be too obvious. Because
Yeah.
if you're too obvious with the drawing, then the fake artist will immediately be able to pick out
What are we doing?
what we're drawing.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then they can just get in there. So it's why games like Spyfall and Fake Artist really are like, I love them, is because everybody has to be kind of sus. Because
have to be coy.
You have to be coy.
That's our
You have
theme tonight, I think.
kinda
You have to be coy,
You have to be
that's
coy. Creatively coy, right? And that's why these games are so good, because like if I was starting to draw the Eiffel Tower, I don't just want to draw the side of the Eiffel Tower, because all of a sudden the
very
artist
apparent.
knows exactly what we're
Yeah.
drawing, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you're too obvious about it, so then maybe you start to draw a little beret in the corner, and someone goes, what the hell is that? What are you drawing?
Yeah,
right?
that's-
What is that? And so, like, you have all of these things where people are like, oh, and then, obviously as the fake artist, you're going, Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because forgive me if I'm wrong here, but from memory, the fake artist can at any point in the game go, "I'm the fake artist, and this is the Eiffel Tower."
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the game's over.
We're drawing the
Yeah.
Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in Spyfall. It's like, hey, I'm the spy, and we're in the
Yeah.
space station.
Yeah, or we're at the beach and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you really like these really fun games, you can just search "Fake Artist Goes to New York" on Google, and the first couple of links will actually be like free to play versions that people have created that you can go in and play. And Ralph, there's one final game here that you kind of wanted to bring up quickly before we round out the episode.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily a drawing game, but we did mention charades, and this is kind of like Cranium a little bit, where this is charades but with Play-Doh. However, there is more of a game here. So there's two teams. So this is actually just a little crappy game that I found at a Kmart or a Target. Like it really is like a one of those little $20, $30 games you can see at a market. and
Hey man,
things like that.
Splendor is at Kmart now,
Oh,
mate.
really?
So it's like they're it's
That's
fine.
actually I haven't played that.
There you
So
go.
there we go. I'm learning new Gateway games on the Gateway podcast myself.
Here we
So
go.
Fantastic. So what Rapid Dough is you divide into two teams, so say 2 versus 2 and things like that. And you all both teams start with the same amount of Play-Doh. It's not a lot, it's just the typical what you get in a Play-Doh tub. And you kind of get a word and you have to make that word of Play-Doh and your team has to guess it. There's different variants in it, but sometimes both teams are actually doing both the same word.
Right.
Anyway, so first team to guess it, they don't get a point. However, the team that loses a big chunk of their Play-Doh.
Yeah, I can see where this is going.
So that way,
Yeah.
future rounds is harder for them.
I love it.
So it gets to a
You've got
point
it in.
where you have like
He's all in.
I'm just picturing one, like my mum sitting there with a thimble full of Play-Doh and me with a stack of it. I'm in. I don't need to hear anymore.
So yeah, there's a bit of variance in how the game plays, but that's essentially what it is. And the funniest thing, when someone guesses what you're making with this little fingernail worth of Play-Doh, it is so funny. And I've seen some ridiculous comebacks in this game. It is so good. So the game keeps going until one team completely loses their thing of Play-Doh. So I've actually had to replace the Play-Doh in my copy twice because not only Play-Doh gets dirty, but we've just played this game a lot.
I'm going to go out and buy it, I think. That sounds fantastic.
You had him at thimble of dough. Yeah. he was all
It
in
actually
at that
comes
point.
with like
Stealing someone else's...
it comes with those Play-Doh tools where each team has a
yeah.
knife that they can use
Oh,
to shape
right.
what they're doing.
Yeah,
And it also has like that when you lose Play-Doh, you don't just like grab a handful.
Yeah.
It has a little device that you use to like inject it in and out and
a
things
little
like
measuring
that.
cylinder of
Yeah,
dough.
yeah, it's like a little beaker of dough.
I love it.
So it's really cool. So Rapid Dough is definitely a winner in my group.
Yeah.
That's a winner. And I haven't even played it. It's already a winner
You
in
know,
mine as well.
there are just some games where you just know you're
Yeah.
gonna have a good time. I think that's it. So these were some of our creative games tonight. We obviously had Cranium, we had Pictomania, our gateway game of the week, Telestrations, and Fake Artist Goes to New York. Fake Artists, they're all relatively cheap, all relatively inexpensive, and hell, you could just play these games. You can play Fake Artist Goes to New York with just a pen and paper, and on there's a whole bunch of things for free. So if you're interested, go check them out. They are available now, and it'd be all that. And with that said, I think we've come to the end of episode 10, our double-digit episode. We're done and dusted. We're now in the dub-dig, guys. We're out of singles.
Well
We're
done.
We did it.
Congratulations to us.